I thought it was a pucker factor of about 8.9.
All right.
This is the thing that Ron Howard's really good at.
Yeah.
He's really good at taking these sort of grandiose stories and humanizing them very well. Like Apollo 13 obviously comes to mind.
Oh yeah, very much so.
Rush is a great, a great example of that too. I even though he breaks it at one point, I really like this as a movie where you're not in the cave with the kids.
Let's talk about that.
Like, I really like that in this, that they picked a perspective and stuck with it for almost the entire movie.
Yeah.
I almost felt like there was a reel missing at one point, because I was like, we went straight from kids going into cave to adults realizing kids aren't there and calling the rescue mission. I'm like, wait, are we ever going to go? Because like, I'm so used to that mechanical. And yeah, like it was a good 40 minutes.
Yeah, before you first saw, and actually that's great because the tension gets really high at that point.
Right, because if you don't know this story, you don't know if they're dead or not.
You're not intercutting with the kids saying, "Gee, I hope someone shows up." Or keep that flashlight going. It doesn't happen. You don't see shit until the perspective. You're right. You see their protagonists show up, and
they break it one time after that, and then they don't ever again. Like, I think I think that's really, really good.
Yeah.
You know what else was missing was what I would have considered the boilerplate coda featuring, the shot of all the kids who survived growing up and the real pictures of the divers.
Yeah.
That didn't happen either.
Well, that's kind of nice.
And it's like, it seemed to be wholly determined to avoid sentimentality, and which made the few instances where he broke it stand out a lot more.
Yeah, the part where Viggo Mortensen's sitting there on the bed and he's like, we were going to be heroes if we rescued one kid, and now if one kid dies, we're the villains.
We're the villains.
Like, that's like that is breaking the sentimentality, but it's breaking it in a really interesting way. Like, it's, hey, here's this guy who's been so stoic this entire time, who didn't want to be here, who doesn't like kids, who's basically doing it because it's expected of him. And he finally has that moment of like, well, I guess we're on the hook for this one.
Like, we're all in now. Like, our names are on this thing.
Right.
All right.
Hey, how you doing?
And there's subcontext there that isn't.
Am I here? Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes. We're doing 13 lives.
All right.
Like you.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
There's subcontext there where this has become such a giant media circus, and this is after he's been attacked by Elon Musk on Twitter.
Which one did Elon go after? The Viggo character or the?
Well, it was all of them, but yes, I believe it was specifically Stanton who he went after.
You guys see me, hear me?
Oh yeah, you're fine.
Okay,
yeah. No, he fucking asshole. I actually thought that Viggo was really good, and I mean, he's basically playing like this weird robot that has flashes of a human being in there, but I thought, like, as a character portrayal, it was great. I actually thought Colin Farrell was great. I thought that
Colin Farrell's amazing in this.
I was so happy when Joel Edgerton was good. When Joel Edgerton rolled into the movie, I was just like, "Fuck yes, Joel Edgerton's here."
That actually kind of makes the action film complete, having Joel Edgerton show up.
Right.
I thought the Thai actors were all great.
Unsentimental picture.
Yeah.
95% unsentimental.
Yeah. Part of it was kind of weird because you realize at some point that you're kind of watching a bit of a white savior film, where
except that it happened.
Well, really happened that way.
These guys call it a white savior.
The two things that save this is the fact that these guys really are experts at this. I mean, they go internationally doing stuff like this. They know what they're doing, like, more than anybody.
The white savior things happens sometimes for real.
Yeah. And
well, I looked, as I'm sure, Ted, you probably also did. I mean, the backstory on this is they got a lot of it right, but they left quite a few key details out, and not the least of which was that there were apparently 100 Thai SEALs, and like there were also more
American, English, and Australian rescue divers there.
But if you're not a good diver, then what are you? Like,
well,
That's how it is.
I mean, and I understand like you have to do these kinds of things to get the movie made. But I also like, on the other hand, I mean, like the swimming scenes and like that one horrific.
And it's really them too. It's
Yeah.
really the actors. Like,
Yeah,
that's
they
so
all
crazy.
they all got certified.
Wow.
The drowning scene was particularly like
Yeah.
rough to watch because it was so. It starts off and it's just like you can imagine, like you don't realize you've just fucked up to the point where you're about to die until like you're gasping.
And we know.
Right.
Like we as the audience know before the character knows, and
Yeah.
you're just
Like,
sitting there watching somebody about to die. Like,
Yeah.
I love how I think everyone just played it so down.
Yeah.
There's
no
like bombastic acting here.
No.
There's no speech from Independence Day in this.
No.
There's go in there and fucking get them
And just
like,
do it.
yeah, and the governor's like, well, I'm gonna take the fall for this, whatever happens. So
And the way
just
that
do it.
Joel Edgerton talked to every boy just made me cry.
Yeah, that was good.
That was good.
Well,
Stuff.
The
listen,
second when he starts doing it the second time, I'm like, oh, he's gonna do this for all of them. And then I like how they keep coming back to it. Like,
But
It just,
I also-
I was actually crying at that point.
where they introduced Edgerton and like to the very first scene is yeah, so we've kind of got this wackadoodle idea and what do you think? And his first reaction is, I didn't come here to kill children.
right.
Yeah.
I'm not fucking
No,
doing that. Are you
no,
crazy?
No,
Are you crazy?
no.
And
Yeah.
then some time goes by and he realizes, oh, this is the only way.
This is the only way. And they got to get it, like they got to sell the prime minister,
Right.
Yeah.
right? Like the guy.
Well, they
who-
barely sell the
played
prime
by
minister.
the-
They have to sell the governor. They
Right.
sell
Well,
the
but-
governor, and then the governor's like, well, I'm going to take the fall for this anyway, so that he goes and sells the prime minister.
Yeah, and then the prime minister shows up and it's the sword guy from Only God Forgives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in a ton of
Which is
shit.
a different
though.
movie we'll talk about later.
Yeah. Well, it was one thing is like the background of it, watching how kind of what kind of a Thai civil or government life is like now. It's interesting because it's like Thailand's been basically, I said, a client state of the United States since the Vietnam War,
And it's all post coup.
it's pretty advanced. There's nothing primitive about this at all. This is like, satellite television and all that stuff. It's the people.
My dad lived
high
there
standard of
for
living
7
there.
years
It's
before he
like
died.
this
But it
could
was
be,
so-
this
it
could
was
be
so
happening
cool
in Fresno
also.
as opposed to Thailand, really.
It was so cool how the farmers, though, like that guy came in and said, "We're going to divert the water."
Yeah.
And they're like, is it going to destroy our crops? And
Yep.
he goes, yeah, it is.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
they all huddle together and they're like, okay, we're doing it for the kids.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
they mentioned
Yeah.
at one point they're going to compensate them, which
At
is
the
They
end,
do it.
it's
the
mentioned.
end,
but
yeah,
the-
yeah.
The
They
quarrel-
did not know that.
But
They did
just
not
the
know that at
love,
the time.
The heart there, the heart
Yeah,
there.
that was nice. Also, this film expressed very well how freaking damp it is there, man.
Yeah, this is such a wet movie.
It's a wet
Holy
movie.
God, it's a
man.
wet
It's
movie.
raining.
That's
and
a
all
wet. That's
Speaking
a wet place.
Yeah.
Speaking of rain, one of the things this movie does so well is set things up and pay them off.
Mhm.
You've been set up for what the monsoon rains do.
Yeah.
And that scene right towards the end where they're all sitting around outside at the table and the rain just starts, it's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, right.
Oh
Yeah.
no! Like now our timetable has gone from like we can get this done over the next few days to this has to happen tomorrow.
Right.
What was
Yeah.
the last line in the coda was that like after they got everybody out, that
8
entire
months.
yeah, that entire facility flooded for 8 was
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
like,
and
everybody
that's why I whatever we're gonna come to thumbs about this, but I thought that like this is not what Ron Howard usually does. It's unsentimental. It's straightforward.
Yeah.
Honestly, Opie Cunningham gets a lot of crap, but I like a great deal of like I go through the list and like
No, I know. He has some good movies, but I'm talking
Well,
about
he
this
wrote
is a different-
Everest too.
But this
Well,
is
it
a
was
different
very
thing.
similar to Apollo 13,
Very
Yeah.
much.
other than the
And-
number.
And
But
Everest,
this is more
The-
realistic. I
which he
think, than most-
co-wrote with the same guy who wrote this.
I like
amazing.
Everest a lot.
Like,
Yeah,
and,
I
he-
think
and
this is
Howard
an
didn't
example.
direct that. Obviously,
He's being more real here.
Yeah. Well,
This
Yeah.
movie was extreme. If you didn't know he did it, Yeah, like
I forgot it was Ron Howard until
you wouldn't
about
know he did
halfway
that.
through the movie.
No, you sucked in the narrative pretty effectively in this film. I liked how he kind of blends a documentary feel to it as well as he's got the narrative going. We also he'll eventually go to a map
Mhm.
showing that how the cave works. It's like that's pretty.
Probably did that 20% too much.
I don't know.
I would agree with you, except for the couple of times, again, setting it up and paying it off.
Mhm.
Like there's such a good when you see the rescue divers going in, the Thai guys, when they make their first trip and actually get to the kids,
Mhm.
and you saw that it was a 6-hour round trip for the dudes the first time, and it's 7 hours and they're not there yet. Like that just clicks over in your mind. Like he said, save 2/3 of your oxygen for the way back. You have not saved 2/3 of your oxygen. You're not even there yet.
Right.
Like, and then again, you know that before the characters do, and then you watch the characters discover that they're fucked, and like that's a really impressive thing to do because this is a horror movie. Like at its base, this is a horror movie
too.
and you're
It's not a horror movie, but it's got horror elements.
No, it's structured like a horror movie. It's just the monster is the thing you're inside. Like it has all of those, because I was a little at the beginning, especially I was like, I don't need to know that Chai isn't a fucking good striker. Like, let's get to them in the fucking cave. Like I didn't need to know it was his birthday and the SpongeBob cake and all of that stuff.
Well, they dropped that pretty quick.
Well, I think that was all probably true, actually. Though.
But no, it is. But if you think about it as a horror movie, it makes sense because that's how you introduce characters in a horror movie is you get these little snippets of their life ahead of time, and then all of a sudden they're in danger.
Right.
Like, and it is they're in danger immediately, and you don't.
But
know
also,
what their fate is.
I love how those A-list actors just play it super fucking low key.
Yeah.
Like they just do it as what it's supposed to be. And when you have that kind of talent, that kind of brilliant talent that just says we're gonna be this way, I thought, oh my God, it's amazing.
Everybody was super respectful of the story.
That's the thing. They probably they knew they were doing a documentary of a true life story.
Well, and
so
Colin Farrell and Viggo Mortensen spent a bunch of time with the real guys.
Oh, okay. Well, there it is.
And everyone got diver certified, obviously, and
But those were sets. It wasn't a real cave.
Yes,
I saw some pictures.
What's also more impressive, by the way, they built those fucking sets.
That's true. That was a set. Impressive sets.
Apparently, they built them in order.
Oh, really?
Yes, because they got more and more and more complex
and
as
I'm
they
sure
went
when
on.
you couldn't see their faces, those were real divers, by the way.
Well, and they got more and more complex as they went on. And Viggo Mortensen said in an interview that they could not have done the 5th stage of the cave the first day that they came in, because they were literally learning this kind of diving while they were filming.
Wow.
Also, apparently, everyone had panic attacks at various points.
I was having a panic
I can see that.
Shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they all lied about it. They didn't tell Ron Howard until afterwards. And then afterwards, they were like, yeah, man, we were all fucking having panic attacks.
There's a couple of scenes.
Viggo says he may never do like a water scene again.
They're a little cut. It's just, I appreciate the time that they took on these little details of what it's like to be that confined and have to make sure that you're grabbing the rope in the right way to steer it.
The hand flip. Hand flip. Yeah.
Or the tucking the air tank so it's as close to your body as possible, because that's exactly the kind of thing that gets hung up. And again, back to the drowning scene, like it's such a mundane little, like he basically just bumps the regulator on the tank the wrong way and it pops off, basically, right?
And
all the air goes goodbye.
Yep.
Well, it doesn't even break the regulator off of the hose. It locks
it
makes it open.
It makes it scream out of the
because there's a purge valve in that, so you purge the water before you put it in your mouth, and it locked the purge valve open. And you literally see him like whack it on a rock, and that's what finally gets it off. But by that point, he doesn't have the
There's
oxygen.
no Control Z for that, man. That's it.
No, you're dead.
That's right. He bangs on the rock, and that's it.
It's dangerous stuff, man. Like I said,
Jim,
it really did happen.
Jim's corner.
I really missed Clint. He's in every Ron Howard movie.
No, yeah,
I've
I
ever
was looking
seen.
for him to his.
I was looking for him.
Right.
Uh-huh.
You're right.
Mhm.
He's not in Apollo 13. He's not in Rush.
Yeah, he is.
I think he
He's
is.
in Apollo 13.
Yeah, he is. He,
I beg
he
to
plays one of the
differ.
scientists.
He's in
Yeah.
almost
the
every-
guys
he's in almost every
Mission
one.
Control.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean he's just doing a cameo?
Yeah, he just pops up as in the
Yeah,
background.
he does cameos.
Yeah.
That's like his whole career at this point is just cameos in his brother's movies.
Mhm.
Yeah, and as a kid in Star Trek,
Right.
Yeah.
But I thought this was a. We got some,
I liked it. I thought the acting was superb. I did feel there's a point at which when the SEALs go in towards the end, where one of them gets his tank stuck on a rock trying to go through, and he's like, you can see him sort of like, I'll just pull it really hard, it'll come through, and then he's like, no, maybe I should back up.
Back up.
Well, and that's another thing that they sell that they set up early and pay off later is him going, I'm sure you guys are all really good divers, but you're open water certified and this is cave
Right.
diving, and that's different.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
Well,
you guys might be
yeah.
able to hold your breath longer than I can, but you don't know how to fucking dive in a cave.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Like,
And that was so brilliant because it's like he's like I think he's still breathing, but I lost the rope.
oh, that
Yeah,
part.
like the guy
Yeah.
that has the freak out,
Mhm.
Yeah.
which is
Right,
what
and then he
most
finally
people-
just follows the electrical wiring back.
like probably
Yeah.
95% of the universe would like. I mean, again, 6 hours.
Yeah. That's an
can't
investment of
even get my
time.
head
Imagine if
around
any
it.
of the kids woke up.
Yeah.
Well, and that's part of the, like, you see the first kid, his eyes
Well,
start
that's
to
why-
flicker,
that's why-
and then
that's
they're
why-
like, oh fuck, you know, like
That's why Joel.
Now, that really was
like,
that was kind of the horror film component too. Is
Yeah.
that fact that knock these kids out and tie them up and then doing there? That was like because you're just
and
beside
Joel is just
yourself,
like
just-
I'll take him the rest of the way. Like you
Yeah.
chill.
I
Yeah,
was
but-
so
that part was
Zip
so
ties and
good.
The
That
empty,
part was so
the
good.
empty,
Yeah.
soda bottle on their
That's a real
legs.
thing too. They
Yeah,
really
yeah.
did that. They
So that they're like the buoyancy
It's
thing.
to keep
Yeah.
the legs
To keep the-
buoyant.
Yeah.
because the first couple of kids dragged their feet the whole time, and their legs were all fucked up by the time they got out.
Oh,
I was
Um,
so rattled by the end of this movie that I had a real hard time sleeping.
yeah, I could see that.
Oh, really? Because by the time I got done with it, I was like, man, that was fucking rad. Like, I kind of want to watch that again.
No, I was
Me too. I was the same as Tad.
Yeah.
I was
No,
like, wow,
2
that
hours
was
and change, and
impressive.
I was compelled, man. It was the end.
Yeah,
of
I did not notice the length when I
Yeah, neither
initially
did I.
started
I
it and I
cried.
saw that it was
I
2.5
cried.
hours.
I
I was
cried.
like,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Honestly, I cried.
Yeah, it's
I
also
cried and went to sleep like Tad.
it's also a beautiful film. It's gorgeous and shot.
Really well shot. And the entirety of the subplot, which is the guys on the top of the mountain,
Mhm.
like back to what Tad said about setting it up and then paying it off.
Right.
Just that one scene where the guy goes up and like, look at this sinkhole, and you just see the water
Oh
swirling.
yeah, like a drain. Like
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
shit.
When he's trying to,
in
yeah.
the cave.
Uh-huh.
It's basically raining. You're like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
What do you do? And then
Yeah.
like when they run out of the PVC pipe, they figure out how to make it out. Of
That's such a great scene.
It
He's
is.
like, oh,
It's
you want
Running
fucking
back
pipes?
to the
Yeah.
pipes
Exactly.
coming off of the mountain.
Machete.
and there's-
Yeah, just like
Increasing-
Grandpa used to do. Just like make your own.
Cutting it by sticking the machete into the stump and then just
splitting
pulling it.
it.
And there's the one guy in the
Pulling it
back who's
through,
got the
yeah.
work gloves on. He's the only one with work gloves. And he's getting real close to the machete at the end. He's just kind of like, meh. Because you know that thing's sharp as fuck.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
properly maintained jungle machete is going to be very, very sharp. Well,
No, this was a very good fucking movie.
it was.
Yeah.
It was very entertaining.
I've been wanting to watch it. I'm
This,
glad.
this movie made me cry and hurt my soul in the best way.
Yeah.
It goes on
Yeah.
my pantheon of good Ron Howard movies. Like
Yeah.
I know. I was like, this is Ron Howard not doing Ron Howard. I love
Hey,
it.
what happened to this film then?
What do you mean? Why did it end up just on? What was it? Netflix? No,
Amazon.
Amazon.
Amazon
It was
Amazon
produced by
co-produced it.
Amazon.
Yeah.
So
Both of these movies, both
no
of these movies
theatrical
are
in this thing?
co-productions.
But no theater, no theatrical at all. Because
Oh wow! Oh, interesting.
No
But it could be.
theatrical, no
Theatrical movie.
nominations.
Yeah.
It just
I was,
kind
I
of
was
came out.
watching.
And,
I was watching, going, God, I must have missed this in theaters because it looked like a theatrical film, but obviously it wasn't.
Yeah,
But, all right. That is. Anyway, I guess we can go to cards.
no question.
Yeah, good stuff.
Really
man.
good,
All right.
good friggin' movie.
Well done. Well,